You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
The pressure is turned up just a little bit. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio and live over on the Oilers Nation YouTube, where, Liam, you'll never guess who the first comment was today. Yeah, we see you. We see you. We're ready to go for game 2 of the Oilers and Canucks, and we got a pretty decent little run of show coming up. David Quadrelli is going to swing by in about 20 minutes. He's going to give us the Canucks perspective of this series. We're also going to be joined by Zach Lang in about an hour. We're also going to have Liam's game sandwiched in there as well.
It's going to be a jam-packed show today, folks. We've got a lot on the slate. A lot to discuss ahead of a big game too.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens in what is looking to be a beautiful day. Another beautiful day in Vancouver.
It really is a beautiful day in Vancouver. Let's dig into it. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. It's brought to you by Sherwood Ford and their fantastic service department. Whether it's the mobile service van, using their valet services, or like me, just swinging in for a quick oil change, Sherwood Ford the Giant has got you covered. Liam, the giant question for today to kick off the show, it was the lead. It is this. Is it fair to say the Oilers are facing pressure tonight in game 2 of their series? It's obviously not a must win. I think it'd be unfair to label it that way, but are they feeling a little bit of pressure?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay. You're going to respond to the giant question with another question.
The question, which means I don't have the answer. No, I'm just going to have an answer. But are you asking me, are the Oilers feeling the pressure, or is this game got pressure? You know what I mean?
Are the Oilers feeling pressure tonight?
No.
Why
I don't
not?
think they will feel pressure tonight because it's a 7-game series. You're not under pressure, I think, until you lose at home. You know, you go home, obviously, like you win a couple of games, and you're right back at even strength. So there's a long way to go before we get to that point. But no, I would not say the pressure is on. I think it's more on than it was game 1, is fair to say. And I think they'll know that. They'll be responsible for what they did last game. They didn't play well, but we've seen them not play well before and come out with wins. And I think it was maybe fair to say it was a wake-up call in a way to be like, hey, we actually have to play pretty well almost every game here. Because Vancouver, very good team. And we've said it before the series started that the odds were interesting heading into this one, making the Oilers such a heavy favorite after everything that happened in the regular season. Even away from just the Oilers and Canucks matchup, the Canucks are the Pacific Division champions. They've got some good players, but I think one thing for me tonight for the Oilers to get into things is just control the play a lot more. Like they really did get beat by themselves, but also though just the one line of Vancouver, just errors, you know.
Yeah, and I think if there's any reason to be optimistic, I shouldn't even say that. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about this hockey game tonight. Yeah, they scored 4 goals. It was a 1-goal loss. They were in a great position to win that game if they didn't choke it away, and they brought maybe their C+, C- effort in that one. So there's plenty of reasons to be confident in terms of pressure. And the giant question, Mistaken Mexican is in and says if Dry is out, I think they may be feeling a little bit of pressure. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl did not skate yesterday for the Edmonton Oilers. Adam Henrique did. Adam Henrique was in a non-contact sweater as well, Liam. But when it came to line rushes, Henrique was sitting on the bench with the training staff. Sam Gagner was taking Leon Draisaitl's spot in line rushes as well. We'll have more on that in a little bit. Leo Donut said the same thing. More pressure added if Leon is out. Mistaken Mexican pressure, not in danger until you lose at home. And I think that's why, like, if we're going on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pressure are the Oilers feeling tonight? What is a 6? Fair?
Yeah, 6-7.
Like,
I think
it's not a must win, but the task becomes relatively daunting if you don't steal one on the road.
Totally. And just with the Leon stuff, I think if Leon was going to be out tonight, Gagner wouldn't have been skating in the second line.
Yeah, so I wanted to get into that with the lineup report for tonight's game. It's brought to you by our friends over at Douglas Mattresses. You can order yours today at douglas.ca/OilersNation. Liam, I am just counting down the hours until I can be back home on Saturday night sleeping in my Douglas. I've been on it for a handful of months now. I have been loving every single second of it. Order today, douglas.ca/OilersNation. They're handcrafted in Canada, ensuring the highest quality materials and fastest delivery to you. And how about this? You're supporting a locally owned and operated Edmonton company. Right now, every mattress order comes with a free comfort sleep bundle as well. Find out more at douglas.ca/OilersNation. Yesterday at Skate, Liam, like we said, Sam Gagner was a placeholder for Leon Draisaitl. I agree with you. I think that is ultimately good news for the Edmonton Oilers. Jack Michaels had the line. So the fact Gagner's there, if I would have been sitting here worried if they went into that skate with like Janmark, with Nuge and Kane. Totally. Then I would have been like, okay, they are game planning for not having Leon. To me, this is Leon needed a maintenance day. You sit him out. Gagner take a spot in practice. Frank did drop a line on Daily Faceoff Live, and Frank's going to join us on our pre-game show a little bit later on in the afternoon to give us more insight into this. But he did say there was some, and I don't want to paraphrase him too hard here, but I'm trying to remember his exact words. Basically, it was along the lines of Draisaitl woke up the next day, and the Oilers were surprised he was in the shape he was in. Not in a good way.
Oh.
As in, they thought he'd wake up maybe feeling a little bit better than he did, which could, again, be why he wasn't on the ice. But he said it, if you want to go back and get the direct quote, he did say it in the fourth segment of DFO Live, so probably about the 13, 14-minute mark of the show. So it was something along those lines, though. So it may be a little bit of concern there when you look at the lineup, but again, at the same time, we know what Leon Draisaitl is capable of playing through.
Well, what I'll say to the Edmonton Oilers is, why don't you go and get Leon Draisaitl a Douglas mattress?
Yeah.
What are we waiting for here, folks? We're in the middle of a playoff run. We cannot have our superstar Leon Draisaitl basically sleeping on cardboard. You know, if you're waking up like that, you got to get him a Douglas mattress today. So Edmonton's very own. What are we thinking?
Interesting bit of speculation there, Liam. What you're saying is that maybe this injury has absolutely nothing to do with Leon Draisaitl and something happening on the ice. Maybe it's about his quality of mattress.
100%. Like, what are they doing here in Vancouver?
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past the city to put some bad mattresses in the Oilers hotel.
Yeah,
a little gamemanship. Unbelievable.
No concern. Leon is a king of pain. Hopefully it's something treatable from Dacky. Yeah, like, again, he is. We know what Leon Draisaitl is capable of playing through. And we talked about this yesterday, but like, he played through a high ankle sprain, and he didn't just play through it. He dominated the Calgary Flames in that playoff series. So it just goes back to, like, guys are going to be playing through shit this time of year. That is the reality of playoff hockey, Liam.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, 70% of Leon Draisaitl, still pretty damn good. 80% of Leon Draisaitl, pretty damn good. If he's at 90%, we're laughing. And who knows? Maybe he takes the day off. He goes, skates around a little bit, gets a workout, and goes, yeah, I'm totally fine. I think that is probably even the most likely outcome in all of this. It's not like there was one moment where he got hit and everyone held their breath and was like, oh my God, is he going to be okay? Okay. He came back in the third period, got a couple of scoring chances, one late with the goalie out. He looked good. He was moving fine. If my concern or if my pressure for the game is 6 out of 10, my concern for Leon Draisaitl the rest of this series, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm probably right around there too, to be honest. One thing I would like to see tonight, because we saw it a little bit in game one, Zadorov went after Draisaitl. They both went to the box, but Zadorov gave him a good cross-check to his lower back. It didn't, like, Draisaitl didn't wince at it or anything like that. He actually gave him a straight-up slash, and they both obviously went to the box. But if that's happening tonight, I'm going to need a little bit from Evander Kane.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to need to see that side of Kane where it's like, show a bit of fearlessness against Zadorov. And he did. I'm not saying he didn't in game one, because Zadorov came in and gave him a shot in front of the net and Kane responded to it. But, like, got to protect Leon tonight, because while, yes, Leon has played through a lot, you don't want that injury to get worse. You know what I mean? You gotta show your support for him.
Hey, AB, flash up the line combos again. I'll give you, Liam, one line or two guys that are going to be facing, in my opinion, some pressure to really up their games tonight. If Draisaitl's down the middle and you got Nuge on his left, Kane on his right, and Draisaitl is at, well, again, we're guessing here, 70, 80, 85%. Let's go, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Giddy up.
Well,
he's been good on the PK. I have no qualms with him there. He's a contributor on the power play. That's solid. 5-on-5. Let's pick up the pace, RNH. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think if there's ever a time for him to have a big game, it's tonight when maybe Draisaitl's not at 100%.
He was unfortunate last game. Obviously hit the post late from that Ryan Cloud pass. But, yeah, we do need a little bit more
from you can say unlucky. I'm not going to say unlucky. Finish the damn chance. We saw him against LA not finish off chances. Finish the chance.
I think it was a bit of that Seelovs was in a good position as well. But yeah, you got to score. I think most other goal scorers with a bit of confidence. And he struggled with that recently, even towards the end of the regular season, right? Just not being able to capitalize on his chances. But yeah, those two should play well together. And I wrote about it this morning. It'll come out later, but like I think the reason Nugent Hopkins isn't with McDavid and Hyman tonight is because they want to surround Draisaitl with more playmaking guys, because obviously he's not motoring at 100%. That would be my theory, because that line of Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, and Hyman was amazing. One of the best in the league. You
mean McDavid, Nugent?
Yeah, sorry,
Hyman?
McDavid, Nugent, Hyman. Just amazing all season. And Foegele, Draisaitl, and Kane, to their credit, have had some good stretches too, but I think the defensive lapses maybe why they don't want to put that line together again. But with Henrique out, like, I am shocked Nuge hasn't been there. And we haven't seen that line in the playoffs at all yet. Granted, Gates round one, the offense was flowing.
No reason. Again, I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see Chris Knobloch go that route. Let's shift our attention, though, Liam, to the top line. Again, Quads is going to join us in like 9 minutes here. We'll get into some more like Canuck-sided stuff then. But Warren Foegele gets to go up with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. And that is... how do I word this? It's not last chance for Warren Foegele, but by any stretch. Oh, Quads is ready to go. So we'll get to Quads in like 30 seconds here. But just quickly on Foegele. Let's go. Where's contract year Foegele? Like, same thing. Like, again, I haven't had like massive problems with any one of Warren Foegele's games, but I can't think of big moments he's had. And it's the same thing with Nugent Hopkins and a couple of guys like that. Corey Perry, where it's like, they're fine. But can we be a little more than fine? Can we get going? Can we push the pace? Can we do things that you look at the end of the game and go, whoa, Perry did this, helped the Oilers win. Whoa, Foegele scored this goal, had this shift, had this hit, made this play, helped the Oilers win. Nugent Hopkins finished off a chance, drove offense at 5-on-5. Like, can we get some legit, tangible positives from these guys? Not just, they did okay.
I think we've seen a bit more from Nugent Hopkins than you're giving credit for to lump him in with Foegele and Perry. I mean, he did have a 3-point game against the LA Kings when we were down there as well. And I think overall, he's just been a little bit better. But I agree, he does need to get going. But for Foegele, like, tonight, I just want to see that physicality from him too. Like, use that speed, bury somebody into the boards. The blue line is big in Vancouver, so like, make him feel like you're a little bit big too, right? Like, show that physicality, and he's got some scoring touch, and I think that extra speed next to McDavid is going to be useful tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's your lineup report for our friends at Douglas Mattress. The blue line staying the same, presumably for the Oilers, just based off line rushes yesterday.
Good or bad?
And both Adam Henrique and Leon Draisaitl are officially listed as day-to-day. So there's your lineup report for our friends at Douglas Mattress. Let's head out to the Star Mechanical guest line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all, and they do it all really damn well. Shout out to our friends at Star Mechanical. Let's bring in our boy, David Quadrelli from Canucks Army, Canucks Conversation. Quads, before game one, Oilers fans looked at the ref report and saw it was Steve Kazari and let out a groan, and it was like, oh, God damn it. We're going to have to beat the Canucks and deal with Steve Kazari tonight. Ahead of game two, Canucks fans are singing a similar tune.
Yeah, so with Kelly Sutherland, it goes back years, right? So it really started, I will say it started, and he's from Richmond, so come on, be a Richmond boy. No, he's like trying to dodge those allegations of being favorable to the Canucks, because basically how it started with Kelly Sutherland is, I don't know if you guys remember rookie Brad Marchand in 2011, just punching Daniel Sedin repeatedly in the face and Sedin not really reacting. Sedin got a 10-minute unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of that. I don't know if you guys knew that, because everybody knows the clip. They don't know how it ended. It ended with Sedin getting a 10, and Marchand got penalized as well. But Sedin got it, and then the explanation was that Daniel was unsportsmanlike in asking Kelly Sutherland when he was going to call a penalty. And then he said, right now, and then he threw them both out. So that was where it all started. But then there was stuff in 2013, really big ones that affected the Canucks in the playoffs again. So just a little bit of worry among Canucks fans for tonight's game, especially with how good the Oilers power play is and their record over the last 8 games. I think I sent this to you, Tyler. It's 0-7-1. It's been brutal every time Kelly Sutherland's officiated a Canucks game, and they haven't won in 8 games their last 8 games that Kelly Sutherland's officiated.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair to assume then we could see the Oilers get a few more power plays tonight. I think just in general, like, I know you and Frankie got into a nice spirited debate about the special teams, because you said, hey, it was a check box, but the Oilers went 1-for-1 with the power play Quads. They probably could have / should have gotten a couple more power plays throughout that game, but credit to the Canucks. They knew where the line was, and they got away with it. Maybe I'll move away from the special teams and the reffing talk for a minute. with that game, a lot of the conversation has been choke job Oilers, Oilers blew it, Stuart Skinner, all that. What do you give the Canucks credit for in that comeback victory? What really stood out in their game is like, hey, they're playing well.
Well, that's the thing, guys, is like, let's go back to the preview show I did with you guys where I said, there's going to be a lot of ifs for the Canucks in this series. All those ifs happened, right? Like, that was the argument I had with Frank was I literally have them written down on my old cue card right here from when I did this show. So I'll tell you, it was special teams. Can you win the special teams battle? Can you stay out of the box? The Canucks lost the special teams battle, so that's one if that didn't happen for them. But they stayed out of the box. Excuse me. Avoiding giving the Oilers the power play. The Canucks can hang with the Oilers, if not, as we saw in Game 1, outplay the Oilers at 5-on-5. So that's what led to success. Was their 5-on-5 game was great in that game. And this is the thing, and I was telling Liam this as well. Our preview right here, you can see it. No joke. Can you see it there? Yeah. Don't let the Oilers D break the puck out. Specifically, that's don't let the Oilers defense get the puck to Connor McDavid. And that was what the forecheck did. This is the conversation I was having with Liam recently, was that when I talk about JT Miller shutting down Connor McDavid, it's not like JT Miller skates as well as Connor McDavid, or he's keeping up with him in the neutral zone and he's bodying him and doing all these things. Guys, how much did Connor McDavid touch the puck? How much did Connor McDavid touch the puck in the offensive zone in that game? That's because the Canucks have identified that, okay, the Oilers' defense is weak, especially that Nurse and Ceci pairing. If you can take advantage of that, make them not able to get the puck out. Like, the Canucks forecheck was giving the Oilers fits all game long in that game. So I give them the most credit there. That's, again, they did everything we wrote down on this card here. If that's going to happen all series long, they're going to be fine. But we know it's not going to happen, right, guys? Like, we know that the Oilers have to be going in and saying, okay, this is where we got hurt. We need to break the puck out with a little more poise. Look, glassing out for Darnell Nurse. Simple Daryl. I've been hearing you guys say it. And I feel for you guys because we were looking back at the goals, and I can't remember specifically which one, but I mean, he was on the Nurse pairing was on the ice for 4 of the Canucks' 5-on-5 goals in that game. That's a crazy stat to be throwing out there. And it's history, right? Like, they were bad against Colorado. They've been bad in the playoffs before, that Nurse CC pairing. And I think the Canucks are just identifying that. I don't know where to go from there. I threw it out yesterday, like, get Troy Stecher in there. Troy Stecher can move the puck really well. I really liked that pickup for the Oilers when it happened. I don't know, take CC out, put Stecher in. I don't know. He moves the puck better. He can skate it out too.
They'll never do it.
They'll never do it.
And it's beyond frustrating because, like, it is so abundantly clear who your worst defenseman is. And he's been your worst defenseman for 6 months, and they just will not take Cody Ceci out of the lineup. It drives me nuts, man.
Yeah, he looked like it's a flawed pairing, right? Like, I didn't really understand how, like, I've heard you guys complain about Darnell Nurse, and I've watched games. I know he's not the best, but I didn't realize how bad his gap control was. Like, it just seems like if you just keep skating toward Darnell Nurse, he'll just keep backing up until he hits his own goalie. Like, he's a big guy too. I don't understand it. I don't understand it when I look at the way he defends. I don't really understand why he has those issues with gap control. Really, it reminds me of Tyler Myers before Adam Foote, Sergei Gonchar came onto the Canucks coaching staff. That's what it reminds me of a lot. Is the way he just kind of keeps backing up and gives the shooter all that space, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I don't love the Tyler Myers comparison to Darnell Nurse, but I'll take it, Quads. I want to ask you, offensively, do you think it's fair that one line beat the Oilers the other night? Because, like, it just felt like that Dakota Joshua, Garland, and who was the centerman, Lindholm line, like, they had multiple chances. Obviously, scored 3 of the 5 goals. Like, Garland had the breakaway, and Joshua had a great chance on the power play. Like, that line just seemed to absolutely dominate the Oilers when they were out there.
Yeah, they were really good in Game 1 against the Predators too, but I'd ask you this, guys, like, which line, and I mean, we all know the answer. We've all seen the natural stat trick. There's no line on the Oilers that outplayed their matchup. Every line on the Oilers lost their matchup in Game 1. That's what it comes down to. Offensively, yeah, like, that was the line that drove the Canucks offensively, but historically, they haven't been. Like, that's been the line that can just go win their matchup and just go shut down the opposition, and they'll chip in with some goals, but it's that Miller-Besser line, which really, their success in Game 1 was literally just don't let Connor McDavid spend any time in the offensive zone. But again, we also saw that Lindholm line. up against McDavid as well. I thought it would be a very hard match with the Miller-McDavid matchup, but we saw Lindholm get some minutes against them as well. So yeah, like I guess one line won the game offensively, but they needed all four lines to win the game, because if even two of those lines aren't going, the Oilers might have gotten a goal, right? Like they might have scored there. They might have scored if one of those lines wasn't going. Whereas, you look at the first three goals, those are all on Ian Cole having a really, really rough game. He was really good in the first series, but he did show some signs. He's a little bit older, showed some signs toward the end of the year where it just looked like, okay, maybe he's not going to be in a playoff lineup. I don't suspect any lineup changes for the Canucks tonight. I think they'll go back to Cole. I don't know how it's going to go tonight, but he's been a really good penalty killer for them all year long. So I think they want that in their lineup.
We were talking, when the Oilers were up 4-1, in my head, sitting there in the building, I was like, holy shit, the Oilers might win this game with like their C+ effort. I would grade it out to. Canucks end up coming back. They win. Where was that on the scale of like the best the Canucks can play to the worst they can play? Like what letter grade effort was that, all things considered? And are there things you think they need to do better tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you can't make mistakes. You can't go in the box. There were too many mistakes. As a whole, that was like a B performance for the Canucks. I would say C+ for the Oilers. With that lead, it was just, to me, it was like, wow, okay, like they're controlling territorially, they're playing well. You get a power play goal, which was going to happen. You can't take penalties against this Oilers team. We all know that. But then you were looking at it and saying, okay, there's a glaring mistake. If you're going to make mistakes, that's going to cost you. So it wasn't so much that, all the bounces went the Oilers' way. It wasn't that. It was that, okay, they got some goals fed to them on a silver platter. And then I would also say some of the Canucks goals could kind of fall under that same category. Like I've been saying this for the past couple of days, that goal, the Garland goal that Skinner let in, that was the first goal. Like that was identical to the first goal that Artur Shilov's ever let in his NHL career. He made his debut against the New York Rangers last year, and Mika Zibanejad, clearly knowing it was a young kid in net, faked the slap shot coming up the wing, comes down, and Shilov's opened up his legs, and the puck went through. And it was, you got the sense with Shilov's, it was like, okay, that's never going to happen again. And it hasn't happened again since. Obviously, there was that Hyman goal that went 5-hole on him, but yeah, it was just, it was tough to see because, look, I've been a big fan of Stuart Skinner. I picked the Oilers to win the cup at the start of the year, hinging on the fact that, okay, you've got this goal, you finally got the goalie, and it's too bad that it hasn't worked out. But I'm hoping for Stuart Skinner personally. Like, he's a great guy. I'm hoping he can kind of turn it around for him personally, kind of bounce back, right?
Yeah.
And he should. He's done that pretty well, not just in these playoffs, but this season. His bad starts are usually never a bad string of starts. So
yeah, I'm not worried about him at all, to be honest. I think game 2 against the Kings, he had a similar game. I think that third period alone was the worst period he's played this playoff run. That game 2 against the Kings, you seem like not comfortable for the majority of the game, but I wouldn't say. I just think the mistake on that Garland goal was uncharacteristic. Like, to bite on that so hard.
I think he was clearly rattled.
Oh, clearly rattled, and it was strange. But I wanted to ask you, Quads, like Silov's, like the way he had that third period, like the Oilers didn't have any chances, but like towards the end, like when it was like the 6-on-5, he did pretty well. Like for a young guy, like he does seem quite calm in the pipes, which you've spoke about before.
That was the worst performance we've seen from Shilovs. Like, I'll just be honest with you. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from him. I expect he's going to get the net again tonight. I know there's been some talk about Casey DeSmith. I'd be shocked if they went to Casey DeSmith. I think they might be pretty similar goaltenders. And obviously DeSmith had that big game against the Oilers to clinch the Pacific late in the season. But Shilovs had a performance like this in game 4 against the Predators, where he wasn't great in the game, but then the Canucks made a miraculous come back to win that game in overtime. And then they go back to game 5 in Vancouver, and there's no question it's Shilovs getting the crease, even though DeSmith was healthy at that point. And I think that's where this crease became Shilovs. And then his performance in game 6 solidified it. That start from Shilovs, you guys said it, like maybe not his best, but made the saves that they needed, right? Like, it's the Grant Fuhr thing. All you need to do is win the game, make more saves than the other guy at the other end, let in fewer goals than the guy at the other end, I should say. And you're going to get the crease. And I think Artur Shilov should get the crease again tonight.
Quads, appreciate you hopping on a busy game day. I will chat with you in 2 hours when we do the reverse, and I join you and Harm on Canucks Conversation. Thanks for doing this.
Looking forward to it, guys. See you later.
There's
See you,
David
Quads.
Quadrelli from Canucks RBC Quads. If you are in Vancouver like we are and you want to come hang out with us this evening, we're going to be doing our live pre-game show from Greta in Vancouver. We'll be showing up there, 7 o'clock puck drop. Our pregame starts at 5. So we'll probably be there at around 4:15, 4:30.
Yeah.
Right
around there. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were just... I was reading some comments in the Facebook chat.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in a bit. But if you're out in Vancouver tonight, this is going to be your spot. They got all the classics. They got the football game. I'll be out there slinging them. They got fantastic food and drink, and it's not that far from the arena either. So come hang out with us in Gastown at Greta YVR. And if you're out in Edmonton, you know where your party headquarters. It's a Friday night. The Oilers are playing in a second-round playoff game. Why would you not want to be at a jammed-packed Greta tonight with the Nation crew? AB is going to be there pre and post game. Pat Puff. I'm sure Waz will be kicking. I'm sure he'll be around.
Waz will be somewhere.
The Nation truck will be parked out in front of there. Let me know. I want Aaron, maybe you can give me like a little report on how my truck is doing. Because I trust you never know.
Well,
you never know. I just sometimes get a little nervous when people are driving the truck.
Fair enough.
Yep.
It is your vehicle.
Yep. Anyways, double Greta tonight. We're in Van. AB and the crew are out in Edmonton.
Greta up. Yeah, I'm
Greta
excited
up.
for tonight. I like when we get to go on the road and meet people who live in the city that
Like
we're
Joel,
in.
Joel's in our chat every single day, and we got to meet him at Black Frog.
We got to meet him. There's a bunch of other people at Black Frog too that were great to talk to. So hopefully those same people can come out to Greta tonight. We can get some more people out as well. And of course, like our good pal Captain Felton, who we had a nice evening with yesterday on the Castellano Beach, having some burgers and hot dogs. Why are you laughing?
It was just a really fun night.
It was a fun night. I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. That was a lot of fun with Captain Felton.
Anything stand out?
I just love the water and looking at the water.
Yeah, you are a big ocean man.
Ocean man. Okay, let's keep cruising along with the show. There are a lot of comments that I want to get to out in the Charm Diamond Center YouTube chat. It's brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, where you can get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program. It all comes with an unbeatable pricing policy. Check out their large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mine diamonds, and you don't pay until 2025 with their instant in-store financing. OAC. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Captain Felton said transcendent.
It was a transcendent evening.
It really was a transcendent evening. All right, Charm Diamond Centers. What stood out to you in the Facebook, Liam?
Somebody commented. I'll have to find the name here quickly, but they were like, "Oh, it was Gary. Thank you for commenting, Gary." He said, "Skinner sucked, and you guys know it.
You suck, and we know it. How about that?"
In the third period, there is no doubt in my mind that Stuart Skinner was bad. The first and second, he was strong. He made a lot of good
that
saves.
Breakaway stop,
Dakota Joshua, like he was very good. And just the third, it really got away from him. And it was quite disappointing too, because he's been very, very good these last 3 games for the Oilers. Since bouncing back from that game 2 again, like I think he's been strong, and it was disappointing to see, especially like just so uncharacteristic. Like the JT Miller goal, like why are you not on the post like that? Like it seems so obvious where that shot was going. Yep. Granted, mistake by Nurse earlier in the shift, but then even the Garland goal, like man, you've been in the league, you've played a lot of games now, you've played playoff games, like you cannot bite on that slap shot like that. The way he did, like, you know, obviously you got to react to what's happening, but like anyone would have thought it was me in between the pipes. It was ridiculous.
I want to get to this one. It came in earlier in the hour from Dave, who said, would help if the Oilers defense actually played D and were tough to play against instead of puck watching and waving their sticks. 4 of the 6 D-men didn't throw a single hit. That's embarrassing. Yeah. Vinny isn't out there because he's a good skater, puck mover. He needs to throw his weight around or sit down.
I agree and disagree.
I do. Yeah. I'm not judging a defenseman's game off how many hits he throws. That's foolish. You're only hitting guys if you don't have the puck. But I do agree they should be a little bit more physical. With Vinny, I thought he had a rough first period, but he settled down after that. I didn't think Vinny had a bad game, at least not from what I saw there. I felt like it was, Vinny was atrocious early from Maynard. Totally. He was bad early, but I felt like he figured it out and didn't have a bad game. He had a bad period, which, again, when you're Vinny Darnay, that's 2 or 3 bad shifts are going to make it look like a bad period. You know what I mean? So I'm more disappointed in Nurse Ceci. To me, that's the headline on the blue line. Ekholm and Bouchard are fine. Kulak and Darnay are going to be fine. Nurse and CC aren't. And I'm sick of trying to sit here and be like, well, hey, maybe they weren't that noticeable tonight. That's a win. Like, what are we doing? It's a pairing that makes 12 point whatever million dollars. Can be better than that. Much better than that. Or needs to be. They need to figure it out. They need to play the hockey of their lives for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I do.
Because it's not like there's some sample size. Sorry to keep cutting you off. There's not like there's some sample size over the season where it's like, hey, wow, they were a legit top second pairing. They were really good for a month this season. There was never a month stretch where they were good as a duo. Nurse played some good hockey. That's about it.
I think too. A comment that Quad said was, what was it? Nurse. He just said like Nurse wasn't as good as his thought. I think Nurse is just so strapped down by this guy. By Cody Ceci, it gets the worst out of him. And Dave Lunn put in here, he said, come on, Liam, how long are you guys going to blame Skinner every time Nurse hangs him out to dry? I think that goal for JT Miller was a collective both of them. The Nurse mistake at the blue line, not getting it out. But then to allow that kind of tape, even JT Miller said, is that I practice that shot every day for the last 10 years and it never goes in. So how does it go in a playoff game in such a critical moment? And the Garland goal, Nurse does a great job of guiding him far wide. And then Skinner bites, and it's his fault. But yeah, just those two collectively. But who was the Facebook comment by again? Just whoever.
Dave McConkey.
Dave again. Double Dave. I think when 4 of your 6 defensemen, and I agree with what you're saying, like if you don't have the puck, like if you have the puck, you don't need to hit all that stuff. But like when 4 of the 6 aren't doing it, I'd be curious what the other 2 counted up to. It is a bit of a statement of like you do need to make it difficult for these forwards, even if it's just like something little. Like you have to do something. And what do you say? Something about Vinny? He's like he's not out there for his puck skills and offensive ability. Totally agree. Like he needs to be the most physical out of all of them. But I think tonight we will see a bit more of that from him because they have to.
Yeah. Nathan, Nurse had his probably worst game of the year, and I'm not a Nurse hater at all. I think it's just amplified in the playoffs. DJ says, get Nurse and Stetcher back together. They look good playing against Buffalo near the end of the season. I think the concern would be maybe they didn't have a lot of legit tests when they were together, and maybe that's on Knobloch for not being willing to play Stetcher a little bit more down the stretch.
It's similar. It reminds me very much of the Derek Brassard edition. Pointless. Like at the end of the day, like I get it's like a depth thing.
Yeah,
but like,
and if you don't make it and you end up needing it, then
and I guess
like, why wouldn't you get a depth piece, right?
It would change. And at this moment, and of course, we all knew when Stetcher was brought in, it was for that reason. But it's like when you have a defenseman who's struggling as much, and like you said, like it's not like he was good coming into the playoffs. He had difficult times, and give Stetcher a go. And we saw CC get some maintenance days out here and there, but like Stetcher never got a chance to get his legs underneath him for like a long run. And heck, like maybe Broberg even deserved to get a bit more of a look than the last 2 games of the season, because from what we saw in those 2 games against Arizona and Colorado, granted, meaningless games, and they lost both of them, he was actually good. And I don't know, we're obviously not going to see that because we all know what this is going to be. But CC, like that goal, Lindholm, if you go back and watch that Lindholm goal, I couldn't believe it. Like I don't know where CC was, and I don't think he know where he was. And then Nurse is just left out there to dry, and so Skinner. And there you go. Lindholm just gets an easy tap. And it's like, how are you not making life difficult for someone like Elias Lindholm? It's just a crazy thing.
Yeah. All right. A couple more comments I want to get to here. Naeem, problem is they can't be better. This is Nurse and CC in every single playoff series the past 3 years. That's not even a stretch, man. I think they've had a couple playoff series where they're passable. I think you could say they were passable this year against the Kings. They've been passable in the past against the Kings, but there's been more series where they're bad than even passable. So I'm sick of it. Dacky, how long have we been beating this Nurse and CC? 100%, man.
Since the Vegas series last year, specifically that one.
Daniel Bryan, what are we going to do about faceoffs? They killed on the faceoffs in game 1. I'm not worried about that until it's a 2 or 3 game trend. I think faceoffs are something Face-off percentage is a super weird, flawed stat. Like sometimes your centerman can do his job perfectly well. You don't like the fact that I said that about face-offs, BM? I think face-offs are a weird stat because like sometimes the centerman can do everything in his power and a winger jumps in and grabs the puck or something like that. Like sometimes it's a little weird. I'm not going to worry about a face-off stat until it's game 3 of the series. Then if the Oilers are still getting caved, I'll go, oh boy, they have a problem because you need to get possession more, but I'm not worried about it right now.
What even were the stats? So I'd have to go back. Let me go back and take a peek. But yeah, like, sometimes it's stupid too. Like I've never seen anyone get kicked off a face-off dot more than Leon Draisaitl. It feels like every time. Maybe that's why they put Nuge on his wing.
Yeah, maybe. Alex is in. Canucks have a better offensive and defensive depth, better coach, better goalie. It's our third string. You have two really good players. I mean,
whatever.
No, I mean, also worry about your good players actually showing up in the playoffs. Let me know what Elias Pettersson's been up to as of late. There were literally Canucks fans screaming around us when Pettersson was on the ice for him to get off the ice.
Yeah, they were not happy he was out there.
It was like not getting booed, but like close to that level in terms of the way Canucks fans were treating him. It was insane.
Yeah, I just looked up the face-off stats. So Canucks at 64%, Oilers are at 36. Yeah, that needs to be evened out a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yep. All right. What was this one from Steven? Did you guys notice that our first face-off man being sent out of the circle, he's 50% of the face-offs? You kind of touched on that. Yeah,
Draisaitl a lot. And there's that clip that went around earlier in the year. It was when they played the Rangers, and he's like talking to the linesman. He's like, "You have to give me a chance. Like, this is what I'm gonna do."
Yeah.
And they just like seem to ignore it. I don't know. Maybe Leon needs to adjust too. If it happens so often, then like you gotta play the game as well.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out before that Nurse is it CC that's bad, or does Nurse just play bad with everyone? I think Nurse has played well with Vinny this year. I think there's been moments when Bouchard was around, they were fine too. Like, I just think that pairing is just bad.
Yeah.
But hey, everyone loves Cody Ceci.
Lazy comes in. Our stars didn't perform, so the depth came into play. Yours didn't. Do we have the game recap again, Aaron? Can we maybe flash up just who scored in this hockey game? Because our stars didn't perform, and this is a Canucks fan, so the depth came into play. Yours didn't. JT Miller scored, and Elias Lindholm scored. Those are your stars. 2 of your 5 goals came from your stars. The Oilers got 2 of their 4 from their star, Zach Hyman. Draisaitl played a big role in them. Obviously, McDavid picked up the assist, but Cody Ceci and Mattias Ekholm, that's goals from the blue line. So I don't think you can sit there and say that the Oilers, this game was close because of the Oilers stars when Connor McDavid literally didn't have a shot on goal. First time in his playoff career he was held without a shot on goal. Just the 3rd time this season Connor McDavid's been held without a shot on goal. Here's the other 2 times it happened. Happened in that road game against Buffalo. In early 2024, right after the New Year, whenever that was.
That weird game, yeah.
That really weird game. He had 4 assists, didn't have a shot on goal, which is hilarious.
Not bad.
The next night, he had 3 assists and a shot on goal, decent bounce back. He was also held shotless back on October 19th against the Philadelphia Flyers when he registered 1 point. He bounced back with 2 assists and 1 shot on goal in the next game. So McDavid doesn't always bounce back well in the shot department, but he's had, multi-points the game after each time he's been held without a shot. If you keep McDavid quiet once, you're probably not keeping him quiet twice. So,
yeah, I expect McDavid to have a good night tonight, and it'll be interesting to see how the others adjust to it. Like, I got a sneaky suspicion they'll try and get that CC Nurse pairing away from that Dakota Joshua line because they got torched by them.
But the problem is, who are they not going to get torched by? Not to keep spending more and more time
Nurse
on
and
this.
Ceci?
Who are they not going to get torched by?
I don't know, but I don't want to find out twice that it was Dakota Joshua's line that did it.
If you cannot trust them against Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland, you can't trust them anywhere further up the Canucks lineup, so you're playing them 11 minutes a night. And
if that's what it takes to win, they're not going to do it, and we know it. We know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to roll out against the Dakota Joshua line, and they're going to be like, okay, we'll see how you guys do this time. But they have to do whatever they can to avoid that matchup for long periods. But they want to play with him, McDavid.
Should have Darian. May not like all the Canucks fans in here, but we do like the extra subscribers.
Yes,
we do. Yes, we do.
That is the funny part about it all.
That they have to subscribe to the channel. It's so good. All right, let's keep cruising along with today's show. Actually, okay. We had a couple more Facebook comments. Murray was in, is Dry in or out tonight? We also had a Facebook comment earlier that was like, Gagne in for Draisaitl at morning skate, not a good sign. That is a good sign, actually.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Gagne in as a placeholder and not a legit, this isn't their plan. If Draisaitl can't play tonight, Sam Gagne is not playing second line minutes. Sam Carrick is likely going to draw in, or Henrique will be ready to go. Like, it is a good thing that it was Sam Gagne as a placeholder. This makes me believe there's a greater than 50% chance that Leon Draisaitl is going to play in this hockey game. So
I honestly would put it 100%.
I don't think you could say 100%.
Okay, 99.9.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's high.
He's not gonna miss this game, like unless he literally can't skate.
Yeah.
And I just doubt it. And also, too, another thing I think to be considered here is
quickly. App optional skate today. Henrique was on the ice. No sign of Leon Draisaitl, officially listed as questionable, I believe, for tonight or game time decision. Here's what I'll say again: it's an optional, heavy optional in the playoffs.
Everyone's optional, yeah.
Yeah, I read this one. if Draisaitl's not taking the optional, I actually think it's a decent chance he plays tonight.
Yep.
I think Henrique is out if he's on the ice for a super light optional.
That would make more sense. But it also probably suggests that Henrique is back for game 3.
He's getting close because he's been skating in a contact sweater and things like that. So again, best guess right now is AB, our producer. When Leon had the high ankle sprain, he didn't practice or do morning skate. We're good, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Henrique likely not to play. Draisaitl likely to play is my read on the situation.
Yep, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look up how these pairings were throughout the year. Carry on.
All right. Well, no, I want to get into. I think I want to do Liam's game. Let's give the people the chance. Yeah.
This early into the show.
Well, we got Zach Lang coming up at the top of the hour. We'll do our bets in a little bit as well. We still got to do keys to victory. There is a lot to do, but I want to give the people a chance to win $25 to nationgear.ca. You could pick up one of these bad boys, the Live Laugh La Bamba hoodie. You could get in on the varsity collection.
I'll also, too, for all you Canucks fans in the chat.
Yeah,
we do have Canucks Army merch as well. If you do win the gift card,
yeah.
So you can feel free to play. There's Canucks stuff in there as well, which you're gonna buy it from us. I don't mind you purchasing it.
Yeah. Here's a look at the playoff gear as well. Our latest Oil Up design, which I am rocking underneath my my Play La Bamba sweater. Get up. Let's do this. If you're new here and you don't know the rules, it is guess the Oiler. They played on the team from the year 2000 onward, so somewhere in that range. And the first one is an easy one. You have to be the first person in the chat to get it right, to be entered into the draw. The second player we'll try to guess is the more difficult one. If you're one of the first 3 to get it right, you're entered into the draw as well.
There is a twist on this one.
What's the twist?
They both played for Edmonton and Vancouver.
Ooh, all right, Liam.
Got to keep you guys guessing.
Give me them clues.
All right, bring up the first one, Aaron. I'm a former first-round pick of the Oilers. I'm still in the NHL. Played over 1,000 games. I've played for 7 different teams. And people love me.
I already know who it is.
Everyone should get this one. I made this one very easy.
Is he currently on the Oilers? Well, maybe.
Yes, he is currently on the Oilers.
All right.
This BM just said
Evan Duke got it.
Papa.
Evan Duke.
Gags. Gagne. Evan Duke?
Yeah, Evan Duke was the first one to get that one.
I forgot he played for the Canucks.
Yeah, he was there. Zach Kassian?
74 games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Zach Kassian.
Remember, whacked him with the stick.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Well, I guess that was when Gagne was an Oiler and Kassian was a Canuck. But anyways, they eventually.
All right, that was a very easy one, but that's the point of the easy game. To show you guys what it's all about. So the second one, Aaron, if you don't mind swinging this one up, played only 1 season in Edmonton and Vancouver. Played over 700 games in my NHL career. My pro career ended in 2021 in Germany. I have an Olympic bronze medal with Team Canada. I was drafted in 2001.
So I'm assuming they got it in the Pyeongchang games. As bronze is my best guess. Ooh. Did May? Ooh,
no, he did not.
That's not the guy? It's not.
Major Nugent. No.
No, okay.
No one said it yet. No, Alex Chason.
Oh, Colton get it?
No, Ryan Spooner. Good guess. Though.
That is a really good guess. It's not Perlini. It's not Scrivens. He wouldn't have played more than 700 games. Not Demers. He was never a Canuck. Someone said Robertson. What? We got one now, hey?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, 2. There's 2. Wait, he's suspended though.
Yeah. Okay, so we need one more.
We need a few more. Darian got it. Oh, I think they all came in a row there. Bing, 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 bing.
Really? I only got 3.
I see Maddie got it. I see Nate Hay got it. I see Darian got it.
So who's the third one?
Oh, and FICO got it earlier on.
Yeah, I got FICO already.
So you got FICO, Maddie 39, and
Nate the Great.
Do Nate and Darian. Put Darian in there too because I said her name.
And she also gave us a shout out about the subscription stuff.
But they came in like dead on same moment. So
would you like to spin the wheel?
I'll spin the wheel. Let's go. Come on.
Here we go. This could be anybody. Anybody could win. But the winner will be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Earned, not given.
Earned, not given. Do you want to show the camera?
I can't.
You can't turn around there. Darian, congrats.
Well done. Email Tyler at the Nation Network. 2 N's.
Tyler at thenationnetwork.com. Say I'm the winner of Liam's game. And you got yourself $25 to Nation Gear. Congratulations, Darian. Wise Kyle. I hate being suspended. Can I win? No, you can't win. You're suspended. Too good at the game.
Suspended till the end of the year? Indefinitely?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
After this round.
We don't want the same people to always be winning the gift cards.
After this round, we'll reinstate everyone. How about that?
We'll see.
All right.
We'll
Well,
talk.
I thought it was fun.
We'll talk. There you go. Liam's game. Scotteroni, what resources are you all using to answer this? I'm terrible at this. Wise Kyle used my account from Colton. If I figure out people are working in cahoots behind the scenes, I'll be pissed. Good job, Darian. Congrats. Let's keep continuing along with the show. Should we do the Betway Game Day Betting Challenge?
May as well.
Shout out to our friends at Betway, where you can get a $200 bonus bet if your first bet loses. It is quite the deal from our friends over at Betway. You can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Simply place a bet with no minimum amount required, and if the bet loses, you will get a refund up to $200. You can then use that money to bet on your favorite sports. This offer is only available outside of Ontario. How do you sign up? Simply create a new account by scanning the QR code that is on your screen right now and redeeming your bonus, despite the fact that the Edmonton Oilers lost that hockey game last night, Liam, or 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
I won my bet and you won your bet.
Yeah, I won. I basically paid for everything I've purchased here in Vancouver.
Nice.
It was
so you
good.
got Draisaitl 2+ points?
Got Dry 2+ points last game. And I had like Bouchard shots and a bunch of stuff. Hyman goal. It was a good day.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid day, actually, despite the fact you blew it and lost at the Hyman shot prop as well. So let's get into our picks for this evening. Jay is not here. But what are you're going Dry 2+ points again?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Even with the looming injury.
We know it brings out the best in him.
We do.
And the Oilers are going to be desperate tonight. They have to be, right? Like I know we spoke about off the top, if they're under a pressure situation or not. They're going to be desperate either way. It's the playoffs at the end of the day. So the odds actually went down. Funnily enough, he was plus 120 last game. Now he's plus 105, but ultra reliable in the playoffs. So Leon, 2+ points.
Yep, Draisaitl 2+ points. Don't hate that. I'm going Oilers money line and McDavid 2+ points. It's paying out a very nice plus 170. I'm going to go heavy on this bad boy. I think we are getting a big bounce back from number 97 tonight. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he finds the back of the net once or twice as well. Big night from 97 incoming. Pair it with the Oilers money line plus 170. Jay is going Oilers in regulation. He is in his playoff mode where he likes to keep it nice and simple, and he's doing exactly that.
Manifest.
Oilers in reg plus 130 or 2.3 to 1, depending on how you look at it, for our friends over at Betway.
Yeah, and breaking news. Is that our news, Jim? Okay.
Yeah.
Draisaitl characterizes himself as a game time decision for game 2, per Mark Spector on X.com. So, I mean, that's not.
If he's calling himself a game time decision, he's good.
I would assume that too.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. Full media availability with Draisaitl this morning indicated he's ready to go, although he wouldn't confirm it directly. That's also from Yaremchuk.
You don't say
4 seconds ago. We are on the ball here, folks.
Fucking dialed today.
You're not going to get that
Dialed
anywhere
in.
else. There you go.
Oh, what? You want a show that can read out tweets faster than any other show?
Yeah.
Oilersnation every
You
day.
ain't going to find it. Put that on a tagline.
From Tony Berard. We'll see how I feel tonight and leave it at that. That's fair. Isn't that all of us?
Do you know what is the way these injuries around the league this year have been, in the playoffs specifically, have been very interesting. Like they're kind of lying, a lot of these coaches. And I get it, but like it seems like in the past, like we had Woody and other coaches too. Like it was never like, oh, he's sick or like equipment issues. Like upper body, lower body. End of the sentence.
But do you remember Woody's line that he loved to use?
What?
He's an available player for us tonight.
Oh, yes.
He's an available player for us
yes,
tonight.
which was frustrating. So it is nice to get a little bit more in-depth answers from these people. But like, it's like why do you need to say he's having equipment issues and cramps? Like, it's such a weird thing to suggest. I don't know. Just say, yeah, lower body injury.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever your back, I guess it's awkward to say where that is.
Middle
body injury.
I think lower. I mean, yeah, because lower body's belly button down.
Yeah, you can say something like felt uncomfortable when he got checked out, came back for the third period. We'll see how he does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just seemed weird. And I mean, quite frankly, it's irrelevant to me, but like the Toronto one was the one that stood out. They actually spoke about that quite a bit today in their media avail.
Yeah. Liam, I want to get into a little around the NHL. This one is brought to you by Wendy's. It takes hard work and determination to bring home the cup. Luckily, all you need to bring home Wendy's rewards is eat. Simple as that. Just download the Wendy's app, place your favorite order, and we'll all be on the road to victory. And by victory, you know we're talking about free food. While you're racking up the rewards points and eating your way through the menu, you'll also find plenty of deals along the way to keep morale high. So what are you waiting for? Download the Wendy's app today and start earning on every order. Around the NHL, Liam, never a dull day in Toronto.
Never, ever a dull day in Toronto. We think sometimes we're a little hectic here, but boy, oh boy, they have had themselves a bit of a week here. It was Jeff Merrick was saying numerous guys are available for trade. Marner, Tavares, Morgan Riley. He did state that Matthews and who's the other one? Nylander, both unavailable for trade, which makes sense. They're two best players at the end of the day. So it's going to be an interesting time in Toronto this year. I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm very shocked Brendan Shanahan currently has a job. Like I'm like,
really?
Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I don't know his exact position, but like it's been there for a long time and they've not had any success.
If next season doesn't go well, I mean, who knows what happens at Tree Living, but I think Shanahan would be done.
Because he is president
of Hockey Ops.
So now he's had 3 GMs.
Yeah, I think it's been 9 years.
Because he came in with Mike Babcock.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the new Leafs. And granted, since then, like he came in, he made them sustainable success there. So that is something of success. I should say. I shouldn't understate it.
Someone said, I think it was Maynard who said, in what world would anyone trade for Tavares? They are not getting rid of Tavares. No. They cannot. There's a zero chance. And I think actually part of the thing with Tavares is you've made it so long in the expensive contract. You want him to come back on that short money deal that he's probably, I would imagine there was a little bit of like a wink when he signed this one. Like, hey, you're gonna stick around. You'll be a Leaf for the rest of your career, but we're going to overpay you now. Your next deal is going to be an absolute bargain for us. And he's still a fine player. He had 65 points this year. He's going to re-sign with the Leafs once his ticket's done on like a 4x4.
I got a question for you, Tyler, if you don't mind me asking. I saw something a few weeks ago now, and it was one of those lists, 1 to 10. And the question of the list, the statement of the list was the most overrated first overall picks ever.
Okay.
It was something weird like that. And John Tavares was number 1. I feel like that is drastically unfair for what he's done in his career. He has over 1,100 games played, over 1,000 points. Like, he's not been an absolute stud for all that time by any means. But at one point, he was one of the best players in the league. No, the Islanders, like,
how many point per game seasons does he have? Count them up. Go back to his time with the Islanders.
Okay, so he's got 1.
No, that's not 1. That's 81 points in 82 games.
Okay, fine. 1, 2. Oh,
that's not.
3, 4, 5, 5, and about 4 other ones within a point or 2.
80,
but also scoring wasn't high in that era either.
Yeah, but still, I think
he's been fine. He's
been
good.
Yeah, I agree. He's been good, but if we're talking about overrated, like he's not a Steven Stamkos. He's not.
He is.
You know.
Oh, I completely agree. I wouldn't say he's like a superstar.
Over the if you were to rank right now the last 15 first overall picks, kind of all from that era. Like, yeah, obviously, he's better than Yakupov. Like, he's not a bust, right? But I think if you're using the word, here we go. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Oh, it's sorted by year. So
Bedard,
elite.
I mean,
okay, Slavkovsky, lots of time,
power,
lots of time.
He's better than Lafreniere has been.
Lafreniere, yeah, he's coming into his own. But you're right.
Hughes,
legit superstar.
Dahlin,
legit superstar.
Okay, Hischier, I would say he's probably better than Hischier. Not better than Matthews, McDavid. Ekblad's a weird one. Granted, very good, but also had a lot of injuries. McKinnon is better than Yakupov, Nuge.
Better.
Hyman. Hall.
Better.
And then Tavares.
But like, take
so
that.
Of the superstar players that have come out, he's probably the next guy.
Yeah, it's like if you go with like the different tiers of what you can get at first overall, there's like franchise-altering superstar, great player, very, very good player, average, bust. He is not franchise-altering. He's not game-changing superstar build around him.
Very good.
He's very, very good.
Yeah, and I just thought that was a bit
3 first overall pick.
Unfair to say he's overrated. Like, we go through there, and he's better than all 3 of the first overall picks the Oilers had, besides
you're right.
McDavid.
Yeah, you're right.
So I just thought that was interesting.
Calvin Pickard said I'd take Nuge over him. I would not.
Would you take Victor Hedman over him? He went second that year.
Yeah. And then who was third that year?
It was Hedman, Matt Duchene, Evander Kane, Brady Shen. Kind of a weird draft.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird
Well,
draft.
there's got
We had
Magnus
Kadri.
Paajarvi at 10.
Scott Glennie, 1 NHL game. Holy.
Coach is in Edmonton now.
Really?
Yeah, in that HSL league. He helps out.
Cool. All right. So the Leafs probably trading Marner again. Like even Morgan Riley. Why would you trade Morgan Riley? You have to get better on the blue line, not worse.
Shed a bit of money, but I also think he's their best defenseman.
He's their best defenseman, and he's not terribly overpaid either. So
yeah,
I think it's obviously the writing's on the wall for them to send out Mitch Marner, but Mitch Marner's now got that full no move, so that's something you got to keep in mind as well. Let's continue along with the show. Zach Lang's going to join us in a couple of minutes here. Just wrapping up our Around the NHL. The league has apparently sent a memo to both the Bruins and Panthers that after their spicy finish to Game 2, the series will be heavily scrutinized by Department of Player Safety going forward.
That is so ridiculous. Every game should be heavily scrutinized. That you are the Department of Player Safety. If something isn't safe on the ice and needs to be disciplined, then it doesn't matter if it's being highly scrutinized or not. You know what I mean? Like, what a stupid memo to send out.
Yeah.
Just call penalties.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Naeem, I think you could move Tavares once his bonus is paid to a team trying to hit the cap floor. Tavares won't agree to do that.
He wants to be a Leaf.
You have a better you have a better chance of convincing Marner to waive than you do Tavares.
Totally. I know.
Yeah.
Well, Marner's a god at the end of the day. So I just like Marner just seems like such the obvious one because Tavares is your captain. Riley's your best defenseman. So you can have either of those guys or a guy that never shows up to you in the playoffs.
Yep. Just quickly, Chris Knobloch said both Henrique and Draisaitl are going to take warm-ups for the Oilers today.
Henrique and Draisaitl both will.
So,
warm-ups.
Yeah. So if it's Henrique, like again, usually taking part in like a super light optional skate means you're out. But maybe if it's an ankle, foot, high ankle thing, like maybe he's just like, no, I need to go skate on it for 20 minutes.
Get it loose a bit.
Yeah, get a feel for it, take my skate off, does it swell up, whatever, all that stuff, and go from there. So maybe there is a chance we end up seeing Adam Henrique tonight. I think if we do see Henrique, it's very obvious that it would be Connor Brown coming out. You're not moving out anyone else other than Brown.
No, I think everyone else is kind of in a spot in the lineup, which is interesting.
Yeah. Naeem, not disclosing if they're playing makes betting super annoying. LOL. I always do, though. Can I just add, I get a chuckle out of people who are like, oh, you need more transparency for the sports betting side of it, blah, 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 blah. And they'll name other sports. And like, there's no doubt like the NFL is better with its injury report, but they play a lot of games in the NFL based on the injury report. The NBA is not sitting there doing anything about rest days and all of that with the betting market. So, and again, I'm an active bettor. I bet a lot on the sport. I never get that mad, or I've never understood the whole like, well, you need more transparency for sports bettors. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything for sports bettors.
No, I agree. It's up to the teams can make whatever decision they want.
Should we do a little playoff report, the notebook? Shall we?
Let's dig into things, shall we?
It is for our friends at Boston Pizza. It's been 30 years since a Canadian team has won hockey's ultimate prize. For some, a lot longer. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and work together to end this drought? Is it their team or nothing, or could they get behind a rival under the right circumstances? Team up for the win and end Canada's 30-year drought with Boston Pizza. Zach Lang from Oilersnation.com joins us for the notebook. And Zach, let's start with the Leon Draisaitl conversation. What's your concern here with big number 29 and this lingering, mysterious injury?
I'm not overly concerned. I mean, we think back to the way that he played on a sprained ankle a couple of years ago, and he was able to do so very successfully. It seems like a minor thing. Like, Sportsnet aired the clip of Tyler Myers kind of giving him a shot in the back, and I almost wonder if his back just kind of locked up a little bit from it. He was able to come back for the third period, which was great. He looked a little bit uncomfortable, which is understandable, given, what we've kind of heard about it. But yeah, I'm not overly concerned. I think he'll be a go tonight, go for the rest of the series, unless there's some kind of big drastic change here.
We spent a good chunk of this show talking about Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci. We're not good by any stretch of the imagination in game one. What would you do if you're Chris Knobloch? Would you want to see Vinny up with Nurse for a couple games? That was an experiment they ran with earlier. Is it getting to the point where they need to consider playing Troy Stetcher or Philip Broberg? Where would you go with this blue line?
Yeah, I wrote about that this morning at Oilersnation.com. And the truth of the matter is that Nurse and Ceci just don't work well together. We've seen this for a number of years now. And especially in the playoffs, these guys are getting outscored consistently and are being a drag on the whole team. If I'm the Oilers, I'm throwing in Troy Stetcher or Philip Broberg for Cody Ceci tonight. I think the change has to be made. Cody Ceci is a serviceable defenseman. I think he'd be a great third pairing defenseman. But the problem that the Oilers kind of run into is with Vincent Desharnais. Like, he is your perfect third pairing right shot defenseman. And I think we've also seen, in the past when Desharnais got bumped up to play alongside Nurse, that pairing struggled as well. I think they only played like 60 minutes, but they were outscored 3-0 on the ice or something around there. It's a difficult situation. I think it's definitely something that's concerning. We talked about it a lot at Oilers Nation leading up to the trade deadline, addressing the blue line, trying to find a replacement for Cody Ceci. Chris Tanev, Sean Walker, Nick Seeler, they were all guys that the Oilers had a lot of interest in. And the Oilers put a formidable offer towards the Calgary Flames for Tanev, who ended up going with the package that the Dallas Stars gave him. So I think the time has come for there to be a change on the blue line here. And I think, it could be trouble if the Oilers don't. It's a real issue for this team.
The Tanev thing is so frustrating because so many people bring that up of like, why didn't the Oilers get him? It's like, well, they tried to get him and Calgary just said no. But Frank brought this up on our show the other day, Zach, and I want to ask you, when you look at it now, do you think the Oilers trade deadline was disappointing, or is that unfair to say?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I thought it was disappointing from right after the trade deadline happened. And that's not to knock the moves of picking up Henrique, Carrick, and Stetcher. Like, I thought in and of themselves, they were fine trades. I've liked Adam Henrique. I've talked about him being a Nugent Hopkins light. Sam Carrick, he's fine on your fourth line. He doesn't really do a whole lot for you, but he's a real physical presence out there, which of course you need in the playoffs. But in the same breath, he's already been bumped out of the lineup for Derek Ryan. And Troy Stetcher, well, he was brought in as an extra defenseman, but Stetcher's a guy who can actually play hockey and play hockey very, very well. We take a look at the number of times he's been traded over recent years, always to playoff contenders. He's got experience. He can play up the lineup. I understand that he's not the biggest defenseman out there, but he is a very, very talented player on that blue line. And we saw him and Darnell Nurse look good together, in their brief moments that they played together. 7 games Stetcher drew in the regular season for the Oilers. I liked what he brought to the table. So I think the Oilers need to be willing to kind of mix things up a little bit, or, hey, you know what? Maybe if Adam Henrique isn't a go tonight, maybe you run 11-7, right? And you limit Cody Ceci's ice time. And then you have, a guy like McDavid or Zach Hyman rotating in on that fourth line to get some extra minutes for the big guys.
I don't hate that 11-7 idea at all. I actually think that might be the move. And again, I guess the downside would be if Draisaitl's not at 100%, it's a little more difficult to go 11-7, but Connor McDavid, I think he's going to be shot out of a cannon tonight. So giving him more ice time, actually, that makes sense to me. I don't hate the 11-7 idea at all. I'm expecting a big night from McDavid.
Yeah, I am too. Like, I think we've seen this in the past where, McDavid would have kind of an off game, I guess, or a quieter game. He was held to no shots on goal in game 1. He only had the single point. Didn't look like himself out there. And we've seen him bounce back from performances like that in massive, massive ways. So I'm expecting the big game from 97 tonight. I think if Draisaitl's in the lineup, I almost wonder if they put him up on the top line beside McDavid and then try and adjust the other lines accordingly. The Oilers have options, and I think that's the nice thing here going into game 2 tonight and the rest of the series.
What is your concern level with Stuart Skinner after that third period? I think obviously as people who watch the games every week, I would say for me, it's not too high, but what do you think?
I'm in the same boat as you, Liam. I'm not concerned about Stuart Skinner at all. Again, look at his performances in games 3 through 5 for the Kings. Look at the way that he bounced back in the regular season. He was excellent for the Oilers for the majority of this season. I think people are way too hard on Stuart Skinner in this market, and it's no surprise. I mean, Oilers fans have always been hard on the goaltenders. It doesn't matter who it is. Even when Dwayne Rollison was the goalie, in the late 2010s there, or the late 2000s rather, everybody was always on him, and he was excellent too. I mean, name one single goaltender that this market hasn't been hard on in the last 30 years, and the answer is 0. So it's not a shock that there's a scrutiny coming his way, but I think Stuart Skinner is a great goaltender, and he's got the mental makeup that makes him an excellent netminder too. His ability to bounce back from games like game 1 or like game 1 and game 2 against LA as well. So I'm not concerned about Skinner at all here.
It is so funny, isn't it? Now that you mention it, like the fear of goaltending in this city is nuts. Like even Mike Smith was unbelievable for this team. And we all were just, I don't know, afraid of like moments like the Anderson stuff, right? Is the goaltender has been a tale in this city forever, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And the truth of the matter is the Oilers can play better in front of Skinner too. Like I think a lot of those goals against in game 1 were, some lapses that could be fixed, that need to be fixed. Yeah, sure. Stuart Skinner could come up with a big save in the third period. He could stone Connor Garland. I mean, there's not much that he could do on the JT Miller one. That was just a hell of a play by Miller. The Oilers need to give him some better run support in front of him. And that's why I wonder about the Stetcher CC seventh defenseman sort of a thing. And if that's something that they look to bring in here, because Cody CC, again, like I've said, he's a fine, serviceable third pairing defenseman, but he's struggled in the playoffs for 3 consecutive years now for the Oilers, or well, two and a half, I would say. I thought he was pretty good, but the last 2 years, especially, they've been big issues. And think back to that Vegas series last year. I mean, Vegas carved up that Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci pairing. Teams have targeted them all season long. They've done so for a number of years. So I think that there's, bigger issues at play than just saying, Stuart Skinner, make a save.
Yeah, I love the Canucks fans who are just, again, like bottom of the barrel when it comes to hockey IQ, the ones in our chat, not all of them. I don't want to generalize. McDavid with the 0-0-0, McBagel, he did get a point last game, so let's calm down there. But you mentioned Stuart Skinner and the mental makeup. When they went on that 16-game heater, there was a bunch of games. The one against Philly, the one against Montreal, there was one against Detroit where he got beat on like the first or second shot of the game and then just like didn't get beat again. Like I do think usually his biggest strength is that he can put a mistake behind him and move forward. What actually maybe concerned me a little bit about that game is I think that delay game penalty rattled him a bit. I think he took that penalty. It was a dumb mistake. I know they killed off the penalty and it didn't cost them, but from then on out, he was shaky the one time when he went behind the net, and then they give up a couple of goals, and then he gives up the Garland goal where he's just very uncharacteristically out of position and playing that poorly. So I like scale of 1 to 10, my concern level with Stu is 4.5. Like I'm not willing to go above a 5 still, but I do think it's a little bit better than like a 2. And I think it is worth noting Seelov's had his worst game of the playoffs as well. I don't know. That CC goal he'd want back. The Ekholm goal was through traffic, so like nothing you can do on that. But I think there's a chance we get a better Arthur Seelovs tonight too. To be fair, it might be a lower scoring game. Is my point. Do we go with the under?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think Seelovs is still very, very young and very fresh. And I think we saw early on in game 1, the Oilers were able to get to him and rattle him. You take a look at the shots on goal again in the second half of the game, the Oilers took like 2 or 3 shots on goal against Seelovs. I mean, that was probably for me the biggest turning point was the Oilers' inability to really get any offensive zone time. And I don't really even think the Canucks were playing all that well of hockey. The Oilers just seemed too comfortable with sitting on that 4-1 lead. Now, granted, they were able to do so against the LA Kings in games 3 and 4, sit on their leads and shut down the Kings. But against the Canucks, you can't really do that because Vancouver has a lot more scoring depth. They've got 3 lines that can put the puck in the net, and that's what we saw in game 1, right? So as I wrote about it my day after game 1, the biggest thing for the Oilers is they can't take their foot off the gas. They have to continue to play their brand of hockey and really take the game to Vancouver because again, I didn't really think Vancouver played all that great of a game. They looked timid for a lot of that game. The Oilers' physicality looked like it was rattling them a little bit as well. And it's not like the Canucks are a very big team either. Like they don't really have any big bulking forwards in the same way that the Oilers do. So if the Oilers can come out tonight, play aggressive in the first period and keep that up all 3, I really like the makeup of what could happen here for Edmonton.
Yeah, I agree. The physicality was interesting. And someone put in our chat before how 4 of the 6 defensemen didn't have hits. Like you said, like the Canucks forward group isn't massive. It's not like they got a bunch of trees out there. Their blue line, granted, obviously some bigger bodies, but the others have the same thing. But I want to ask you, Zach, about Chris Knobloch. I think I don't want to overstate it, but like he was pretty poor in that game with some of his decision making. Like I think not calling the timeout, even 4-3 would have been a good time, a game time goal.
I do coaches hate
there was
timeouts.
multiple times. Like, what did you think overall of his coaching performance? I guess.
Yeah, it could have been better for sure. But again, Chris Knoblauch, this is his first time in the NHL playoff. He's still, a fresh, young rookie head coach in the NHL. So, he's going to have his struggles just like the players are going to have their struggles throughout the playoffs. I think the one thing about Knoblauch that we've seen more so from him than coaches in the past, Woodcroft, Tippett, McClellan, Knoblauch does seem to be better adjusting on a game-to-game basis. And I think that's been the big story for the Oilers this season. They go out, they have a stinker game. Well, they're always seemingly able to bounce back in really solid ways. We saw it again in the playoffs here too. Look at the performance the Oilers had in game 2 against LA and compare that to their performances in game 3 and 4. And there were stark differences. The Oilers played a lot better hockey after having that kind of a stinker game. And even before Knoblauch's time, we've seen the Oilers bounce back in the playoffs as well. Think back to the Calgary series in 2022, where game 1 was an absolute stinker. It was a 9-6 loss. It was like, oh boy, here we go. Like, we're going to lose to the Flames in the second round of the playoffs. And then the Oilers are able to go out and win 4 straight. Now, I'm not saying the Oilers are going to be able to do that against the Canucks here, because I think this Vancouver team is better than that Calgary team was. But at the end of the day, like, this series is still wide open. And I don't think going down 1-0 is any real detriment to the Oilers right now.
Last one I got for you. When you look at this Oilers forward group, they're going to need some better performances from guys in this game. Warren Foegele's getting an excellent opportunity next to 97. Earlier in the show, I said I'm throwing some pressure on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. If Draisaitl's not at 100%, need him to take a bit of a step forward. Is there anyone in this forward group you're looking at tonight going, they need to have a much better performance than we've gotten maybe in game 1 or maybe in these playoffs as a whole?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on both Foegele and Nugent-Hopkins. I think for Foegele, like, his time is now, right? If the lineup holds the way that it was during practice yesterday, he's going to be on the top line with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Foegele needs to step up and have himself a game. I think there's no other way to cut it. I don't think he's been like terrible per se, but in the same breath, he got bumped down from the top 6 to the 4th line against LA. So this is a great opportunity for him. And I like that swap because I didn't think Janmark played good on that top line at all. He did not look like he was able to keep up with McDavid and Hyman. They need somebody on their other wing that can think offense too, right? I think McDavid has shown his ability to be a two-way player. And when you got Mattias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard on the defense there, guy like McDavid doesn't have to be as concerned about super strong defensive hockey because of how good Ekholm and Bouchard are at clearing pucks out from the defensive zone. So Foegele, I'm looking for him to step up. Nugent-Hopkins, I actually think he's been playing fine in these playoffs. Everybody's been really hard on Nugent-Hopkins, but he's got a goal and 8 points in 6 games in the playoffs here. Like, he is producing, he's providing offense for the Oilers, which is exactly what they want from him. Can his 5-on-5 play be a little bit better? Could he get some points at 5-on-5? Yeah, sure, that would be great. But I think everybody's looking for that as well. And the last name that I'll throw out there, just in addition to those two, Corey Perry. Let's have a game, Corey. Waiting for him to kind of show up in these playoffs so far. Again, don't think that he's been bad per se, but we haven't really seen a Corey Perry playoff performance the way that we were kind of hoping we were going to from him. Now, granted, he's playing on the 3rd line. They're asking, that 3rd line to kind of be a matchup line and a really solid defensive line, which I thought that they have. But at the end of the day, the Oilers need depth scoring. So if that line can chip in a goal or two tonight, that would be a huge help for this Oilers club.
There's been a lot of points where I look at Corey Perry and it's like, go. Like, what do you like? Either move faster or like there's a scrum he doesn't add. It's been a weird playoffs from Corey Perry. Zach, I want to keep you around to do our keys to victory for our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, now officially open out in Sherwood Park. They can service all makes and models of power sports and marine. Bring Sherwood Power Sports and Marine your service troubles, inspections, test runs, trailer TLC, or just a fresh oil change. They got you covered. Check them out now for all your power sports and marine needs. Keys to victory tonight, gentlemen. I can step up and I will say no bad goals against. I think if Stuart Skinner comes out and gives us, he doesn't need to be A+. He doesn't have to be as good as he was in games 3 and 4 out in LA, but he's just got to be solid tonight. A solid Stuart Skinner. Don't need to be remarkable. Don't need a shutout. Oilers will get theirs offensively. I think with Kelly Sutherland, the power plays will come. The offense will flow. McDavid will have a bounce back. I'm so confident on that side. My key to victory is a solid night from Stuart Skinner. Zach, what's your key to victory?
For me, it's just keep the pedal to the metal. Don't let up. If it's 4-1, make it 5-1. Like, they need to continue to play their style of hockey and not allow the Canucks to gain any momentum in this game. And that's what it felt like happened in game one. The Oilers kind of let up a little bit. A weak one goes in, a weird one goes in on the Elias Lindholm goal late in the second. Those late goals in a period are real killers going into the next frame, right? So for the Oilers, keep the pedal to the metal, and they shouldn't have any problem in being able to wrap this one up.
Key to victory?
I'll just say keep the offensive push, and that doesn't necessarily mean score 20 goals tonight, but basically once Hyman scored, they just shut off their offense. So you got to keep things going. You got to keep the flow of the game in your favor, and I think they would have won that game if they did that.
Yeah, that's fair. Final buzzer is in. McDavid hunkered down and a little pissed off is his key to victory. Vinny said Nurse is his key to victory as well. Owen, Stu can let in 10 as long as Seelove lets in 11. If this game ends 11-10, I will die of a heart attack. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Zach, you think the Oilers bounce back tonight? You picking them to win?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Oilers have a nice bounce back performance tonight. They need it. At the end of the day, they need it here. And seen them be able to do it in the past. It's time for them to metaphorically put their money where their mouth is.
Giddy up. Thanks for doing this, Zach.
Hey, thanks for having me, boys.
There you go, Zach Lang, Oilersnation.com. He wrote a couple of really good pieces. Let's link one of them in the YouTube chat here. So when we're done this show, people can go take a read at what Zach has to say following game one of the Oilers series against the Canucks. Tonight, game two, Oilers looking to steal one on the road. If you win this one, the mindset, the outlook shifts. All of a sudden, you've got home ice back. You're heading back home. You wanted to get a split. Split was the goal. You can accomplish your goal tonight, regardless of how game one of this series went. Here's your run of content for the rest of the day. You got myself, Liam, and our boy Bag Milk. We're doing a fresh episode of Oilers Nation Radio immediately following this podcast. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast from. So we'll have another hour of hockey talk there. And then tonight we are going to be live at Greta in Gastown in Vancouver. We're doing the pre-game show. So it's going to be myself, Liam, apparently Frank Saravalli as well, and others live from Greta at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Mountain. If you're in Vancouver, come join us on Friday. We're going to be partying hard, having a couple brewskis, and previewing this matchup between Edmonton and Vancouver. 5 to 6 Pacific time, 6 to 7 Mountain. And then we're going to throw it up to our party headquarters in E-Town, downtown YEG, where AB and the crew are doing pre-gaming with Boardsy at 7 o'clock Mountain. So you got a 2-hour pre-game show. You got a new episode of Oilers Nation Radio coming your way. And of course, game notes and all of that good stuff up at Oilersnation.com. Liam's got a new article as well. Zach has an article. Gregor's got the game previews and game notes. So OPM's got a new travel diaries as well. The point being, we have a lot of content for you to consume here on a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. Oilers looking to even things up. Liam, we got Oilers Nation Radio. Big shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat for tuning in this week. That'll do it for a Sherwood Ford Giant game day of Oilers Nation every day. We'll be back with this show on Monday. See you then.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit Oilersnation.com.